All right. Hello everyone, and welcome to stream. How's everybody doing? How are we all? How are we living? How are we all today on this fine... Josh, what day is it?
It
Josh?
is Friday.
There you are. I was like, where'd you go?
Hello, how's the ghost?
Yeah, it's a ghost. Hello everybody, welcome in. Hi everyone. I am doing all right. I'm here with Josh. Feeling bird, me too. Bird is the word. Bird is so the word. Josh is here as well. Yeah,
Hello.
Josh is here too. Say hello. Does he sound okay?
Hello.
Speak. Wait, can you speak? Just to test.
Hello. You
Is
hear
he-
me?
Does he sound
Hello?
alright, chat? Let me know if you need me to turn him up, turn him down. Sound alright? Alright, fantastic. Just let me know if you need to turn him up or turn him down. Mike's a little quiet. Alright, let me turn him up a little bit. Let me just turn him up a little bit. How's that sound?
Hello.
Does that
Can
sound
you guys
a
hear
little
me?
bit... We're both a bit quiet. Let me turn me up a little bit too then. Just in case. Much better? Alright, fantastic. Loud now? I'll just turn you down just a little bit and we'll call that good. Alright. Hello everyone, welcome to stream. Like the stream title says, it's the roast stream today. We're roasting your art, which just means it's very, very harsh critique. Because I don't think either of us are good at coming up with roasts on the fly. Like just witty retorts. I'm not too sure about you. Are you a roast god?
It's like either extremes, either not harsh enough or way too harsh.
Oh, I feel that's also kind of me. I'm like, maybe it's a little bit too harsh. But all right. Before we get going, we all pretty much know the drill, because if you didn't know, our growing community is filled with tons of art nerds, and we art nerds have to we art nerds have to stick together. So if you're an art nerd too, be sure to check out the links to our social media in the description below, and check out our website for our class offerings, where you can get critique, guidance, and encouragement from our instructors, because we're not just a YouTube channel, we are an art school too. So if you'd like to support us so we can keep making free content, consider supporting us by becoming a YouTube member for exclusive channel perks like emotes and sub badges, or supporting us on Patreon for as little as $2 per month, where you can get access to tons of perks like my working files, critique sessions, class recordings, and a huge discount on our classes that have a limited amount of spots, so be sure to check those out before they are gone. That one was good. That one was pretty good. It's never.
Yeah, you are fast.
Yeah.
Holy.
it's very telling how many times I've said that, right? Alright, that one was pretty good. Not too bad. Like last week, I think was, or not last week? A couple weeks ago, that one was like perfect. I was like, I didn't mess up once. That was pretty epic. But alright, I hope you're all doing well. Wear the roast glasses? That was an Iggy thing. I apologize, Naomi. I don't know how to add them.
Oh.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, Iggy's really good with the bells and whistles. I'm really not that great with that kind of thing.
It's okay, you can imagine them.
Yeah.
While we're wearing them.
Yeah, you can imagine that we're like angry and on fire all the time, constantly. But alright. Sue asks, how are you doing, Josh?
I am doing good. We just had camp, so yeah, there's a lot. It's a lot today, yeah. But
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah, we're both exhausted. My voice hurts, which means that we're gonna be extra angry for today's roast. Extra exasperated. Looking at your art today, so if we are very dry, then you know why. It's like very dry sense of humor for this next bit.
Yep.
Alright. Starting off, we're gonna start off with we both picked one each. Or we both picked three each, not one. We both picked three each of your beautiful pieces. Before we get into it, you've all failed me again. All of you. Okay. Once again, none of you know how to share a Google folder. Okay, do you know how many more of those where it's like, you need access to this to view, right? It's a big blue button, my friends. It's a big blue button that says share, okay? And you can change it to anyone can view. It's in your language, my friends. It's in your language. Doesn't necessarily mean it's in English. Whatever language you speak, it's right there. read the screen, my friends. Or there's a little icon. There's a little icon that looks like this. All right? That means to add people, my friends. Somebody just copied, like, the Google Drive link. Like, the link to go to Google Drive. It's gonna give me my Google Drive, my friend, right? That's not gonna give you, you're not gonna give me yours. It's just a link to the site Google Drive, okay? That's not gonna work, okay? It's like, some of you, a lot of you heeded my advice, right? Not gonna use, like, I told you, don't use a Google Doc, right? Don't put your photos on a Google Doc. Why did that mean I'm gonna put my photos in a Google PowerPoint? Is that better? No. Say it with me. It is not better. Thank you. We want to share a folder that has the images in it. Thank you. Right? If we use a Google PowerPoint, I can't save the photo, besties. Okay? I have to take a screenshot of it and finesse it to make it so that it's at least 500 pixels. Okay? We need something. We need to learn how to save images, right? Here's the worst part. Some of y'all were traditional artists, right? So you took the photo and then decided to put it onto Google PowerPoint, okay? You could have just uploaded the image. You could have just said, I'm going to put some files in here and it's going to be a Google image, okay? Why did you go through the extra trouble of making it a PowerPoint? Okay? Thank you. So remember, for next time, do I have to release a Google Drive tutorial? Please? Do I have to, is that what this channel has become? I have to release a Google Drive tutorial to teach you people how to work with these things that you've been taught how to work with? Thank you. All right. Let's get going into the roast because we haven't actually started yet.
that was awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. I say it every single time we do a roast stream. I tell them all, I'm like, hey, you need to learn how to use Google Drive, my friends. You know what? I am slightly proud of all of you because I saw far less iCloud sharings. Thank you. I'm not on a MacBook. Why would I ever be on a MacBook? Okay. This first piece that we have here together is by Kendrick, or World of KRS. That's World, WRLD, period, OF period KRS. And you didn't tell me which social media I'm supposed to look at, so I don't know. I guess he's sending you all on a quest to go and find out what social media page he's supposed to be on. I have tea here because my throat hurts.
Spilling the tea, you know.
Love the tea, yeah. There's a lot I could start with this one. There's a lot to say here. There's a lot that... First of all, the lined paper, like kind of the elephant in the room. So we're submitting pieces on our homework now, right? Like that's what we're doing now? Okay. Josh made a really good point on this one, actually. We don't really understand what this measurement system is supposed to be. What's going on here? I don't... Because the number one, right? It's like 1, 2, and then a little nubbin of that third line. And then 2 has that extra 2/3 and 2 extra lines. And then every single one after that has 3. So I don't really get what this measurement system is supposed to be. I also don't know why her body's kind of like magnetically floating into her like elbow here. I don't really understand what's happening there. I don't really get what's going on there. Also, the thumb is going through the stop sign.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I didn't notice that. What the?
You didn't pick it up, right? You didn't pick it up immediately.
No.
It's like, oh.
Whoa.
Oh no. It's like the second that you start like...
It also looks a little like they noticed it and kind of tried smudging it off after they colored it in. It's like, what? Interesting.
It's so much. There's so much going on here. Every single finger is the exact same length. I don't really get what the fishnets aren't curving around the thing, and there's like doubled up fishnet lines. It's like, is this supposed to be a gradient? Is this what we're supposed to be doing here? Or is it supposed to be like a straight line across? Because that's not a great look. I don't really understand what's going on with these legs here. Let's flip that bad boy. Ooh, she's kind of leaning to the left there. Or maybe it's the curve of the notebook page. I don't know. Number one, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, we got the artist in the chat.
Oh, do we?
It's K Skits, K Skis. I think that's... Well, they're saying they're trying to explain what it is, so I'm assuming that you're the artist.
Yeah, I'd hope so. I mean, if you're explaining for somebody else, you're like the the spokesman for like the politician, right? Like it's like the artist was meant to say this, right? You're trying to give off the statement. There's just a lot going on here. The anatomy. I know that you're trying to make it the head's tall, but I'm like, but then what happens to the rest of the body too, right? Like it's like sure you got the head heights in there, but like I don't really understand what's happening otherwise.
Wait, this is a sketchbook.
This is a.
He says this is the first sketchbook.
Well, first of all, if it's a sketchbook, it shouldn't have lines in it. That's rule number 1, right? I would say if you're gonna get a sketchbook, right, first rule, right, first rule of thumb when it comes to art, I promise you, you can get a super cheap sketchbook for like $2, $1, right? With no lines in it. Amazing, right? Fantastic. Doesn't interfere with your work. And then if you need to draw a straight line, you can have this fun little thing called a ruler. Or you don't even need to buy a ruler. You had a phone that you took a photo with this. You'd use the edge of the phone. Use the edge of the phone, use the edge of the iPad, use the edge of whatever it is that you took the photo of this with. There's a lot of straight edges in this world. That's what man-made things look like. They got a straight edge on them. Right? But there's a lot of just... Yeah, true.
The dollar store has cheap sketchbooks.
Yeah.
Not too bad.
Yeah, I had a friend in like high school. All of her materials were bought from the dollar store. Could you tell? No, of course not, because she was an amazing artist. So it's like it didn't matter, right? You don't need expensive materials, right? Just make sure that the materials are viable, right? If you handed a portfolio and you handed me a notebook that had lines in it, I would laugh in your face. Okay, first, we don't want lines. That's like that. I know I'm focusing on this a lot, but I'm really trying to dig this home, right? Let me flip this canvas real quick. So I know you can't do this traditionally, but guess what? You can hold it up to the light and you can flip it, or you can flip your whole thing upside down. That's another fun tip. If you want to flip your work upside down, all that flipping the other way does is it changes your perspective on something, right? If you're working traditionally, very frequently traditional artists will flip their work upside down because it gives them a different angle to look at, right? We got that lean. We got that Michael Jackson lean kind of going on right now.
A lean, no.
That lean. 1 foot larger than the other. This whole leg is kind of a lot bigger than the other one, right?
True.
You kind of got... Oh, go ahead.
I don't know, you mentioned like the fingers, but then the hand holding the phone, those fingers are, I don't know what happened there with consistency.
How's she holding that? Yo, that's a talent. If you can hold your phone without actually gripping your fingers around the phone, that's pretty strong. You got some good balance going on there, right? It's not even... True. What happened to the pinky finger? There's no joint there anymore. It's just kind of like the little nubbins going on over there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, hoping we didn't see that. Well, we caught it, you know?
Yeah, it's like, you don't understand. I am that really, like, a lot of us are. I am that really annoying artist that loves to zoom into your work. Sucks, doesn't it? Too bad. Yeah, there's a lot going on here. The eyes are far too low on the head. Right?
I think it's the eyebrow height or forehead height. Also, I wasn't sure if those were eyebrows, if she had like 4 eyebrows, and then I realized like, oh, I think that's hair.
Yeah, it's the extra.
Like you got straight hair coming down.
Yeah, you don't really have it attached to the rest of the scalp, so it kind of just looks like it's just a pattern. It kind of looks like like, you know, the Naruto, like at the bottom of his face, like the whiskers that he has. It's just kind of like a pattern on the forehead. I'm not really too sure what's going on there. If you want to add those, I know exactly what hairstyle you're going for. If you want to do that, you got to make sure that you have it in collusion with the rest of the hair, right? You got this crazy, like, hair gap right here. You got to make sure that it looks like hair. Don't draw straight lines. Add in those hair follicles. We want to make sure that it actually looks like the hair has a part, right? And then the same thing with the baby bangs, so that it actually matches with that, right? And then usually there's an extra kind of layer going down here too, right? We want to make sure that the baby hairs match the actual grown hair, right? We don't want to just add that shape for the sake of it. We want to make sure that it actually looks like hair, my friend. So we don't want to just like, because, you know, our hair, if we have a hair part, we're not just going to draw it like this and call it a day. We're going to add some definition to that hair part, yeah? And then if you want to add those baby bangs back in, fantastic! Now it looks like hair. If you draw in just that shape going on there, and then this, that doesn't look like extra hair. It just looks like a shape, right? It looks like a line that you decided to put there that you didn't know what to do with it, right? There's just so much that we could point out on this one.
Yeah. Also, I'm like, what happened with the leg on the left side? Why is it red? Or I guess on your side you flipped it, but the red on the leg.
What here? Is that supposed to be bounce light? Oh, my friend. Then why is it on the opposite side of the arms?
Oh, that's true. Yeah, because it's on the arms. Like the red is on the arms. Why is it on the wrong side? Yeah.
First of all, if it's light, then it needs to be lighter than the rest of the piece, my friend. We can't just have it there to be there. A light source is a part of your piece where light is supposed to be coming from, right? If we have it coming from every single angle, that it's not really source, is it? It's multiple sources, in which then it's not consistent because you only have it in one corner here, and then you got it on two sides here, but it's not actually showing up on here. So what's actually going on, right? Think about these things. We want to think about these things, right? I assume that you may have built up the body, right? Like you have like your head here, and then like maybe you went into like the chest here, right? Just facing from the front. So like this is like the hips, right? And if you wanted like a wider hip kind of range, why is everything kind of leaning to the side here? If you wanted them equal, you got to make sure that you're like looking at them from different angles, right? You don't even need to be a digital artist to see this one. Also, putting your feet, I'm gonna get all of you right now that is watching this, right? I don't care where you are. Stand up for me, and try to stand with your legs perfectly like closed together and your feet perfectly closed together for more than like 10 seconds and tell me that it's not uncomfortable. Okay? Stand up for me, put your feet perfectly together and try to have both sides of your legs perfectly touching each other for more than 10 seconds. And then tell me exactly. You can't. You literally can't. And it's like, it's uncomfortable. It feels awkward. Your legs won't touch like that. It is just like, even if your legs do touch like that, your feet certainly won't, right? We naturally stand with our feet apart. Not even necessarily with our shoulder width, but apart. We don't stand with our feet. A natural stance, you're not going to stand there with your feet together. That's also why I hate this pose. You see a lot of people do this, where it's like they're going to draw their character, and their knees are inwards, pointing inwards, and their legs do this. The knee knockers. Ooh, buddy. Stand like that for more than 10 seconds. It's not going to work, right? My biggest point of advice... Oh, sorry, you go ahead. I heard
no, I'm just catching up on what he's saying. He's saying that it's supposed to be a pear body, and he followed a tutorial. So he's trying to give us a little explanation.
I love a pear body. Don't get me wrong. I love a pear body type, but even a pear body type won't stand with their feet facing together like that. That's not a natural position. Here's my biggest point of advice, right? When you are drawing a pose, any pose, right? Any pose, and you want the character to look natural, even if they're posed, right? Even if it's not like supposed to be just a stance where they're trying to like act casually, right? Even if it's like a pose where like you want them to look a specific way, right? Try and do it yourself. If it doesn't work, don't draw it, right? There's a specific hand angle. If hand angles don't work with you, hand angles are a huge one. If you try and draw a hand a specific way and you try and do that same action yourself and it doesn't work, don't draw it. It's not accurate. Even if it's posed, right? If you bend your hand back a certain amount and it starts to hurt, perhaps you shouldn't bend your hand that far back. If you put your feet together and it starts to feel unnatural the way that you're standing, perhaps you shouldn't draw them like that, right? Even with reference, right? Reference is one of those things. If you have reference, that's fantastic. It doesn't mean that you're drawing it right. You can't always use reference as your excuse, because sometimes you look at a reference and you copy it. You're not understanding what you're looking at. You're just going, okay, I'm going to copy this because it looks good in my eyes. That doesn't necessarily mean that's right. This is why we understand how to fact check things. This is why we understand how anatomy works. This is why we understand and do stuff like figure drawing or observational illustration, because we can observe how things work. We can observe how this stuff works and how it like functions in the real world, right? Because if we draw stuff that doesn't function and it doesn't feel right, then it will look awkward in our pieces. Yes, thank you, everybody. All right, that's enough for this piece. That's my 20 minutes up. All right, Josh.
Nice.
Yeah. Sorry, I went off a little bit too much on that one. Anyway, my friend.
No, no, I think it's good. I mean, you know what? Like they're at least trying to get some drawings done. It's just get the proper structure down. I think it's
Yeah.
just missing that extra bit.
Yeah, 100%. Well, my friend, if you'd like to go into the second one.
Okay, so
Be my
the
guest.
second one that we got is from trying to find the name. Okay, Odelian, and this is their piece over here. And let's see, did they have any handle?
They did. It was Ghost of
Ghost?
Odelian.
Ghost of Odelian, yeah,
Ghost of
yeah.
Odelian. Odelion. Once again, no social media, so we have to guess.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But so here's the thing: is like at first when you look at this, like, oh, okay, that's not too bad. You got like some nice character design, got some like outfit going, and like the hand looks really good. It looks believable holding it. But the longer I'm looking at this, I'm kind of like something feels off. Something looks kind of yeah, exactly, unnatural. There's something about the lighting, and what I've come to notice is that it looks as if there's a light source on every single part of all the different elements. So like there's a light source on the head, and then there's a light source on the chest plate, and then light source on the hand. All the different parts kind of have their own light source, but then it's as if those individual light sources don't affect any other part of the body, and it gives it this really kind of synthetic, robotic, unnatural feel to it, and it's just really, really odd. Yeah, I don't know. Do you have anything else that like stands out?
Yeah, no, you're totally right with that. If you like zoom in on the like arm padding and like the leg padding and that kind of thing, I don't think you lassoed it. I don't think you lassoed it and then painted it in, because it looks a little bit too. It's not sharp enough for you to have done that, or maybe you did and then you were like good enough to have blended it back out. But it feels like everything is just its separate object. You ever seen collage art where they just kind of cut and paste from other places? That's what it feels like.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
You ever watch Chowder?
No.
No? You ever watch
Wait,
Chowder? Y'all in chat have ever watched Chowder? You know how they have like the random like the textures that they just put on the character, and then like the textures don't move with the character, and it's like on that background. That's what I feel like I'm looking at right now, right? It kind of feels like the texture isn't actually wrapping around the figure. It feels like it's just kind of pasted on there, and you went, job well done. Because here's the thing, right? This piece is pretty good. Like, it's not that bad. Like in all honesty, this one's pretty dang good. But there's just things on here. It's those little things. It's very similar to what we talked about, like Iggy and I talked about last stream. It's like, there's just little things. Like, you're so close. You're so close. It makes me want to pat you on the back and say, you're almost there, buddy. But, like...
It is.
It's like you look at it and you're like, there's just a couple things in there, right? Especially with, whoa, goodness. Especially with, like, these arm pads and the leg pads. Yeah. It's like, you're so close, right? These arm pads. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, there's something about it where it doesn't feel like, oh, I get what you mean, like the collage part where it doesn't look like it's wrapping around the circumference or the volume of the arm.
Yeah.
Like, I think part of it is like the stitching. The stitching looks like it's a pattern brush almost. I don't know how it's done, because I'm like, they're so clean. All the like the lighting on it, it just doesn't feel right, you know? Like if we were to break down the volume of like this leg, it'd maybe be like this, and then, you know, you'd probably see the circumference of it like that, kind of. But then the stitching doesn't wrap around the leg.
No.
It kind of is going in its own direction. It's going in its own kind of, it has a mind of its own almost.
It's stuck in its own little world. He's not really listening to what's going on there.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying it's like the chowder, the chowder texture. Hi, hello, Crow. Welcome in. But I'm sorry, I can't call you your normal nickname. But no, you're totally correct. Like, it should wrap around there, right? It feels pasted. It doesn't feel like it's wrapping around that form, right? Like, it's like, let's, like, that whole stitching thing, because, It's hand done. It is 100% hand done. I don't think it's a brush. I think because you can see with like the different lengths of each thread. Like if you really zoom in on it, it's all like different lengths. I'm looking at the arm too, right? It's like you have different lengths of all the thread and you worked in different like everything, right? Here's my thought process, right? You zoomed in like crazy. You decided that you wanted to add every single little detail in there and you thought that adding every single little detail would be better, right? That's not the case. I promise you, if you don't draw every single little stitched thing, first of all, you're saving time. Second of all, it's nobody will notice. I don't think I've drawn stitching ever. Like, I think I've maybe done it once or twice when it was important. But the fact that you went in and you did that, nobody's gonna look at that, right? It's one of those things, like, you're just wasting time at this point, right? You're drawing all these stitching, and it's like, it actually is hurting you more than it's helping you, right? And, like, you don't need it, right? You really don't need it. And the fact that it's all so light, it's all, like, this bright light, and it's, like, really clashing against the like, color of this dark leather armor. Are you a tiefling paladin? You seem like you play a tiefling paladin, if that's not what this is. And I'm like, you know what I mean? There's a thing with fabric, there's a thing with stitching, and there's a thing with sewing, right? 99% of the time when you're sewing a piece of clothing, you want your thread to match the color of, like, whatever it is that you're working with so that it doesn't stick out. Right?
Yeah.
And then
I think that's why I thought it was patterns, because they're all so light and they almost have a similar value to them. So I was like, oh, did they just like draw in the stitching with a pattern brush? Because it's so like, it's just like stands out. It sticks out like a sore thumb.
Oh, tiefling fighter, yeah, definitely. Tiefling fighter is probably it. Not total paladin. Yeah.
And I think just other than the stitching though, but like the rendering, it's just everything is super hyper rendered.
Yeah.
I feel like what happened maybe is like as they painted it, they're like, okay, gotta render in like the hand. Okay, done the hand. Okay, moving on to the padding. Gotta render every single thing in an even out way. Where in the end, when you zoom out and look at it, it just looks like it's not uniform. Yeah. Not everything is like well brought in together, kind of thing.
100%. The best piece of advice I ever got in college was too much detail means there's none at all. Right? You have done so much detail to the point where it's hurting you because there's too much detail. Right? None of it matters anymore because you've added so much to the point where you've oversaturated your own piece. Right? And it's like you've done every single little bit of stitching. You added so many hair follicles. You've done every single edge of those horns. Right? And you've like... Ooh. You've done like every single little fold at the end of your shirt there, and like you've done like all the stitching on the shoes and the pants, and like it's too much, man. It's so busy, right? You don't need it, right? It's really not. It's not necessary. It's like less is more. You can have what I like to. My personal philosophy is that when I do a design, I like to have an accent, and then everything else can be like just kind of unified, right? Your accent or like your statement, that's it, your statement piece, and then everything else can be like your support, right? Like you have one thing on the design that is the most detailed or the most eye-catching or the most, and then everything else can be your resting point, right? And that makes the design feel a lot more cohesive and a lot stronger.
Yeah, I think the big thing is like there wasn't any kind of like focal point. Yeah. You could be like, oh, maybe it's the eyes because they look like they're the brightest, but then you got all these specular highlights on the armor. And then this axe is also really bright. And then all the tiny little specular details on the stitching. Everything is just like trying to grab your attention. Like, hey, look over here. Actually, no, look over here. It's like, oh, where do you want me to look? I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. There's just too much. There's too much going on.
And then lastly, I think like the legs. Someone did mention it in the chat too. There's something off about the plane. And I think it's the perspective of the step. So I think even though this foot is taking a step forward, it's a little bit either too low. So you can either move this leg, move it down, or you can move this leg up just like a smidge and move it over, and the perspective would just like match up, I guess. Something like this maybe would be a bit better. Oh, whoops. Yeah, something like that I think would just like instantly ground the foot, because I don't know, something about this step is just not feeling. It's not feeling it. It's not quite there. I think it's partly due to the shadow too. Like the shadow is casting onto the foot. And so by just having the shadow be off a little bit, it would make it feel like they're on separate planes. They're not like oddly positioned in a perspective that doesn't work. Yeah.
Yeah. I was looking at the legs too, and if you don't mind, I'm gonna switch over to my screen as well. I was looking at the legs too, and my view was like based on the angle of the pelvis, right? We're looking directly at the bones that are here, right? All in all, your anatomy is actually not bad. Like you're quite good here. But like if we have the angle of the pelvis, the front of the pelvis is like kind of right here-ish, right? So right now you have this foot pointing outwards, but then you have this foot pointing inwards, right? Which is very, very awkward. Because that, again, everybody stand up. Let's try and do it. If we stand up and we walk and we have one foot moving forwards with the toes pointing outwards, other foot stepping backwards with the toes pointing inwards, we straight up can't do that one. That one straight up doesn't work, right? So, because we have this person just supposed to be naturally walking forwards, we need this foot. We need this foot to be pointing forwards a little bit. Right? If we have one foot pointing forwards and the other one also stepping as if it's pointing forwards, that feels a little bit better because now it feels like that person is walking. And then say, like you mentioned with the shadows, Josh, it does kind of feel like you have this shadow going over this foot, which doesn't really make a lot of sense. Based on
unless they're about to like trip over or something.
Yeah, 100%. So like the shadow, you might want to angle it more back this way so that it feels a little bit more natural. I think it's very funny that you have a shadow, like you've decided to have a cast shadow and then have no light source. So it's like you're kind of just giving yourself another light source here as well. But I promise you, please learn your foot angles, please. Please learn your hand angles, please learn your foot angles. The feet are not that hard to draw. Well, I mean, they are, but they get easier when you learn this fun little step. Your ankle is a sphere, your heel you can draw as a little pudding cup. You can have almost a door wedge for your midfoot and a semicircle as your toes. Drawing these in any angle, any will work, because suddenly you are able to draw the foot in any angle that you wish, because now you have broken it down into 4 very, very simple shapes. I promise you, just break things down into very simple things, and suddenly it gets easier, my friends.
Yeah. The feet, I feel like, are like the #1 most neglected part of like figure, because like we move down the figure. It's like head, and then body, and then hands, and then it's like feet. It's okay. I don't have to worry about those.
Yeah, 100%. It's like I was actually I taught my students hands and feet in camps today, exclamation point summer camps. I taught them about like we were talking about hands and feet today. They were all very distraught about the fact that they had to draw feet today. But if you thought that hands were hard, feet are worse. I think that feet are the unsung hardest part of drawing human anatomy, in my opinion. Because it's like you have your hands in all those really awkward positions, but then you have feet, and you're like, what am I doing here? Because like there's so many methods for drawing hands and not enough for feet, in my opinion. So it's both hard to teach, hard to learn. But
yeah, I was doing some studies, and there was like my student one time was like, "Oh, what are you drawing?" And then I showed them, I was like, "Yeah, this," and they're like, "Ew, feet! Ew, get that away!" And I'm like, "Why? The feet are awesome. You just have to put the effort in and start drawing them a little bit."
Yeah, they're tough. They're tough, and yeah, I know feet are gross. It's just the gross part of the human body. But like, you gotta learn it, unfortunately.
I mean, if you can draw feet, that's where shoes come in. You just put the shoes on top, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, the shoe shapes are a lot easier than the foot ones. All right. Anything else you wanted to say about this one?
Not really. I mean, did you have something about the breastplate? Like you said, they kind of look like water droplets or something. But I don't know if we're going over if we have enough time.
Oh no, we've got plenty of time. We haven't even hit our 20-minute mark.
Okay.
Yeah. I totally forgot. Yeah. Oh no. What happened to the metal here, buddy? I don't really know what the rendering is going on here. I know it's super stylized. I know, my friend. But what you've done is you've made this look like a bunch of little strands, and I'm not too sure that's what you wanted, right? So, I promise you, I did this recently. I'm gonna be actually, let me be 100 with all of you, right? I have no set way for rendering metal. It's just kind of like, I look at a reference and I work from it, but I kind of understand what's going on because I know how lighting works. So, with each section of this breastplate, right, you should probably have just a different value, right? Maybe have it lowering down a little bit, right? Especially with metal, less is more, right? Because you want to you don't really want to render metal out that much. You kind of just want to, like, let it do its thing, right? So, like, you want to just have, like, very, very simple shading, very, very simple... full.
Dude, that looks so much better already.
Yeah, it's just it's like less is more. Less is more. Say it with me, friends. Yeah. Say it with me, chat. Less is more. Like, the less that you do to the metal, the better it looks. Wow, isn't that amazing? Fantastic.
Yeah,
really
I never realized also just how many streaks they've added to the armor. Like that upper shoulder on the right side is just so, like, you blended it all in and flattened it, and already it's like cleans it up instantly.
Yep, and like, good on you. You added reflections of the arm here, right? You added a nice little, like, reflective bit for the arm color here. Good on you. But you really didn't need to add the rest. Less is more, my friends. Less is more. You don't need all this streakiness. You don't need any of it, right? You could say that I'm erasing the personality, but if your personality doesn't work, then I'm sorry, you can't make the cut.
Dang.
This is my time to be mean, Josh. This is my only time.
True.
This is the time where I can say the first thing that pops into my head.
Dude, that looks so much better. Like, when you zoomed out, it's like all that noise, all that attention-grabbing noise from the piece. It's like it's calmed down a bit. I think, like, a key thing is, like, even though there's so many parts to it, you can still think of it as one giant sphere. Yeah. It's just you're not seeing the whole sphere. It's just like the front half of it, kind of.
Especially because it's curved. You want to think about that, like, curve, just like how it curves around the body in a very simple way. Another example I gave my students is you can think of the torso like a flask. You can think of it as like a flask, or you can think of it as like a... Well, I mean, I usually, it's like the better shape you should think of as like a rib cage, but like, I'm like, if you want to really, really break down that upper torso into a very, very simple shape, a flask is your best bet, and then you can just very, very easily just warp anything around that. Especially if you're a beginner to anatomy and whatnot. Look at that. Much cleaner. Much, much cleaner.
Oh,
and hey, look at that. We have a proper light source as well.
Wow.
Right, our light's coming from here.
Do the flip.
Do the flip.
Show the old stuff.
Oh, I'm sorry. I've been working on one layer.
Oh, really? Oh, no.
My apologies here. I'll just pull out the original. I can grab it again. Because I haven't actually saved this file, so...
Yo, welcome to Wing Canvas. I'm
Whoops!
Jessie.
Hang on. They definitely heard that one.
Because I'm looking at mine, and then I look at how you rendered it, and it's like, oh, and it's night and day.
Yeah, here we go. We can just do this. Look at that. Wow. Like this one versus this one. Let's flip this back over. Yeah, I've been working on one layer. My apologies. Yeah, look at that difference. Wow. Right? So much cleaner, so much nicer, right? There's so much less noise. It's like, oh.
Oh, it's like, wow.
Oh. Jump scare. So much better. So much better.
It's like, my eyes. Too much speckles.
So much specular light. Right? Less is more, my friends. Repeat after me one more time, chat. Less is more. Yes. Brilliant. Perfect. Beautiful. With that, though, we can get to the next one. That is about our 20-minute mark. Beautiful. Thank you for submitting. Thank you to every one of you, every single one of you for submitting. We do appreciate all of your contributions to content. Anyway, let's move forward.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, this next one is with me. This next one I've chosen. This is by Choo Choo. Choo Choo. Well, let's save that one too. Yeah. I completely forgot to save working files. That's my bad, Joe. This is Choo Choo. She can be found at art_choo_b. Once again, not giving me a social media platform, expecting me to know which one it came from. So you can search, I guess, if you want to find that.
It's a long boy.
Yeah, it's a long boy.
A long girl.
Long
girl. I guess.
Long girl, long boy. Boy is a BOI is just a gender neutral term, really. You are a boy. You are a dude. I don't know. I think the word like. I was gonna say this is gonna sound really mean. It's like I'm allowed to do that at this point. It feels like everything I've seen before. It kind of just feels like the boring Instagram art that you kind of just come across, and you're like, oh yeah, I've seen this like 70 bajillion times. It's like the lime lips, you know what I mean? It's like you did it with Prismacolor pencil crayons, and you're like, isn't this impressive, guys? No, it's not, because I've done it a bajillion times. It's just there's no ideation, there's no interests, there's no, like, it's just a person. Like, I'm like, I don't, and it's also just like, it's very clearly just like from, again, those like Instagram art that's like, oh, I'm gonna draw this really beautiful person and that's all that I'm gonna draw, right? I'm also gonna call you out. You're the one that did the PowerPoint. You're one of them. You gave me a PowerPoint. Why would you do that? You had the images. I can see your phone. I can see your shadow in where you've taken this photo. You're the one that did it. You.
It was like reverse Oprah. You gave me PowerPoint. You gave me PowerPoint.
You're the one that gave me a PowerPoint. But yeah, there's just like, it's just, I don't know. I have some original thought, is my main point here. Like,
Yeah, it's lacking a bit of personality.
Yeah.
It's very clear like it's a study, but you can still add some personal artistic touches when
Exactly.
you're doing studies.
Exactly. A study, for those who don't know, is something that you're supposed to look at a piece and you're supposed to understand what it is that you're looking at. If you're copying your study, you're doing it wrong. Your study is supposed to be something that you are supposed to gain an further understanding and to advance your own work from, right? You're not supposed to copy it exactly. You're supposed to understand what it is that you're looking at and create something that has a benefit to you, right? If you are just copying outright, you're not really learning. You're just kind of going line for line of what it is that you're looking at, right? A lot of artists that do like background studies, what they'll do is they'll take the pick, like they'll never color pick, and they'll kind of pick with their eyes, and they'll add like different lighting, and they'll make it more vibrant, or they'll use like the lasso tool and make it more interesting that way, right? If like painters, same thing. It's like they can't color pick, but they'll like, you know, mix the colors to the best of their ability, or they'll make the composition a little better. Maybe they'll remove something, maybe they'll add something, right? Your studies are not meant to be a copy. Your studies are meant to be enrichment. They're supposed to be fun.
I like that. Enrichment.
Enrichment.
Enhance the original.
Exactly.
Basically.
Enhance the visuals. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You got anything
someone
else?
did ask on chat, do I like Procreate or Clip Studio? Unfortunately, I do not have an iPad, so I only know how to use Clip Studio. I don't know. I hear Procreate's good, but
Procreate, I've used it a couple of times. For me, Procreate's a little too simple for me. I'm like I've used Photoshop, I use Clip, I use both of the powerhouses. It's like I went on Procreate, my friend's Procreate, and I was like, there isn't enough functions. I'm like, where did everything go? Right? It's still a good program. It's a very good program for its price, but I'm like, for me personally, I like Clip more. Clip has far more functions. Clip is very, very accessible. It has animation capability. So does Procreate, but like clips are like a little more powerful. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. This piece, I can see that there's maybe something. Maybe they wanted to exaggerate the length of the neck. I don't know, but it's also too cylindrical. It's too evened out on the way it is drawn.
100%. You want to demonstrate how you would do it?
Oh, okay. Sure.
Yeah, let's switch over to you. Let's take a look here. Let's take a look-see.
Little demo
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
Man, okay. So one thing that you could do is like push the angle, because the first thing that stands, I feel like I've also drawn this pose just like as a study on my own.
Oh yeah.
But you can always like push the head angle and really like stretch that neck, maybe. And the thing that I like that's standing out is like it's too cylindrical. It looks very even. And even though there's a little bit of convergence, like I would like really push it and like vary up the shape vary up the shape language and all that.
Yeah.
And same thing with like the neck or the shoulder here. I'd probably push it out a little bit, kind of a thing.
Yeah, give it more of a pose.
Yeah, like push what's there in the reference and see like what you can do with it. And try not to make parallel lines. Try to like have things converge and play with different angles. And like you can experiment even with the I kind of like, let's see. I feel like I don't even need it anymore. But, like let's see but like yeah, I feel like you could just take the reference and really go crazy with like that bun was really cool. You got the nice flow with the hair, like play around with the nose shape.
Hair? Oh, that's my bad, Joe.
Yeah, I think it's a bun. I'm pretty sure
Oh,
it's
no,
a bun.
The bun, but on the cheek. I'm like, I don't really understand what's going on there.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
like,
hair. I think it's like stray side hair.
why is it doing
I
that?
think. What that hair do?
What that hair
I don't
do?
know. But yeah, like just find things that are there and see how you could push it and exaggerate it, and like the head angles, how thin things are, but try not to keep everything even. Pretty much like my go-to advice, because I do a lot of these studies as well on my own time, but I'm always trying to find ways to like exaggerate maybe the lighting or the
Yeah.
proportions and whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah.
How would you do it? Do you want to do a quick demo?
Oh
or-
yeah. Oh yeah. Let's go. Let's go. All right. So for me, right, I love exaggeration. I'm very anatomical though. So I'm like looking at this pose and I'm like, ooh, there's a lot going on here. So let's do that fun jazz. Woo! All right. So first thing we notice, her scapula is missing. There's a little bit missing here. I don't really like her back needs to be pushed out just a little bit more. Right? There's a little bit of bone missing because you kind of have it so that her shoulder directly connects with her back. Not if we can see this much. So we're gonna want to give her some meat on her bones, give her a little bit more there, you know what I'm saying? The shoulder has a fun little connection spot on the top of our that like our arm, our deltoid, right? The deltoid has a fun little connection where it actually goes in between two sections here. The bones that are underneath the surface, we have our collarbone and we have our scapula that is on the back. This section is the connection bit is called the acromion process, if I remember correctly.
Wow.
Wow. So we have the acromion.
That anatomy knowledge.
Yeah, no, I love anatomy. I love scientific anatomy. So we have that acromion process right here. Our shoulder will actually be in the center if we are looking at this body directly from the side, right? So our shoulder would probably be a little bit more like right here. Like this. I see what you're trying to do. I see that you're trying to have the collarbone at an angle right here, right? Which makes the entire body look a little awkward because you have the face at a perfect half-set angle. So, a couple things you could do here. One, you can keep this angle, right? You're going to keep this angle, have the angle of the collarbone here, right? And have this shoulder up here if you would like. But you're going to have to change everything else. So your chest is also going to have that angle like that. And you're going to have this entire pose on a side angle, right? Same thing with this head. You're gonna have it so now our facial anatomy is on the side, matching this angle of both the collarbone and the chest. So now you're gonna have this angle like this instead, right? So you're gonna have the nose here, the eye's gonna be down a little bit farther here. You might see a little bit of on this side. Let's actually make this a bit darker. And let's do this magic really quick so we can see that a little bit better. So we're gonna have the nose like here instead, right? So it's on a bit of that angle. The brow, other brow, right? So that whole head is on that angle by comparison to just the body, right? Or what you can do, that was a cool voice crack right there, or what you can do is you can keep this all the same, keep the head the same, and then you change the shoulders up again. So if we have it at that 3/4, we're gonna see a little bit of the back, or that perfect side, we're gonna see a little bit of the back there. Bring that shoulder up before pushing that shoulder forward, and then this shoulder's gonna be lowered. So then you can have that perfect side angle. If you have one shoulder raised, this is still just an awkward angle if you do this, right? It kind of looks like she's doing a shimmy. You know what I mean? She's in the middle of a shimmy, right? You got to think about that kind of angle. There's a lot of things you got to think about here. angle of the body aside, because there's more, don't worry. Angle of the body aside, there's a couple things here that you've decided to do that you clearly just looked at and you were like, oh, people draw this. I don't really know what it is, but people draw this, and I'm going to put that here. I don't know what your SCM is doing over here. I don't really know why it's connected to the acromion process there. Your SCM, your sternocleidomastoid, is a muscle that connects from the back of your ear towards your jugular notch, which is the center of your collarbone. You can feel it. If you touch your collarbone on your body right now, move towards the center of the body, you'll feel a little U shape. Hurts if you press it. Don't press too hard. Also kind of hard to breathe if you press it. That is where your, which one's the one that you breathe from? It's either your trachea or your, the other one, the esophagus. I don't know which one's the breathing one.
I also don't know.
Alright, it's one of those two.
we passed science in high school, yeah.
Real, right? So one of those two. It's the trachea. Thank you, Reimagine. So the trachea also connects to your jugular notch. So if you kind of press that little thing in there, it kind of feels like it's getting a little hard to breathe. So don't press it too hard, but you can feel the jugular notch right there. So your sternocleidomastoid, your SCM, will connect from the back of your ear to there. This is the muscle that helps your head tilt from side to side. You're going to want that to start connecting at the top and go down to the bottom here, right? I don't really know what it's doing here. Not too sure. Your collarbones as well. No, I promise you, they're not two little V's that are on the side of your body. They don't do this, my friend. These are collarbone. Your collarbone will wrap up around your body, kind of stopping right here because that's when your scapula attaches. So when you are drawing your collarbone, if you just kind of want to accentuate it like that, you may, but you're going to have to draw it like this instead. You're going to want that to wrap around the body. We don't want it just... We don't want two little V's on the front of our body. No, sir. We want it to wrap around there. No, miss. My apologies. We want it to wrap around like this, right? Actually, that's a little bit too high up there.
I think that even if, like, they wanted to add those, like, V's on the collarbone, it's kind of like, if the reference has it, like, let's say the shadow is there, your drawing might not work for those kind of details, so you kind of have to improvise depending on your style, how much you're rendering it, what you're pushing, what you're pulling, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, 100%. No, you actually make a really good point. Like, what you pull from the reference does not mean you need to draw it. Right? There's a lot that you can just kind of go, like, what do you call it? Like, you can forego it, you can add it, you can detach it, right? Especially if you took this from a photo, right? A photo might not necessarily, like, what do you call it? A photo might have shadows, or it might have protrusions and stuff that just doesn't work with your style, which is fine. Just don't include it. Don't include it. Or come up with a solution, have that bit of, like, enrichment to your studies. I'm circling back there. You see what I did there? It's great. Have a bit of enrichment to your studies and come up with a solution that matches for you, my friends. Yes.
Yeah. Exactly. Like, if there's gonna be a bunch of pores on the photo, I don't know if you want to draw and shade in every single pore on the skin.
100%. Yeah. It's like you might just want to leave that one for the interpretation, right? It's like Mario doesn't have a bajillion pores, and neither does Kirby. Wouldn't it be weird if he had a bajillion pores? Exactly.
Oh my goodness, I'm imagining that now. Kirby with skin pores.
Manhole cover pores. Yikes.
Oh no.
Not great to think about. But yeah, however, you do see the pores on Ellie from The Last of Us, so depending on your, the art style, what you're working with, it will change. It will all change. Alright, that's about as much as I want to rip into this one, because I'm starting to get bored of this one. You have anything else you wanted to add?
No, not really. I think we said all we needed to say.
Vibes. Alright. This next one then is for you then. I'm actually give me like 5 minutes. I'll be right back, but you can get straight into this next one.
Okay.
Without me.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Hello, it is me. I am back. I am now taking over. Someone was like, I wonder if Josh is just awkwardly listening. No, I am listening respectfully. Jessie just has so much to say. I'm just like, yes. Speak more. Okay, so this one is by someone. Let me see. We have the Excel sheet, so I just have to look at it. Okay, this is Phantom Marts. And let's see, the handle that they gave is, okay, Phantom Marts _ and you can find them on Instagram. So thank you for your submission. And you know what? I was like, man, they had some really good drawings, and then I saw this, and I was like, oh, okay, there's a lot going on here. So, man, I don't think I can go as hard and as mean as Jessie can, but I will just do the best I can. Josh fans rise up. Oh, thank you. So the thing that stands out to me is like the character in the front. It looks really good. Like that pose, that crouch over there, and this bike is also really solid. It's like right up in your face. But then there's this guy over here, and then there's this backroom table that's over here, and it just completely throws off the entire piece. I feel like if you took, let's say, I think if you took just this front section, if you just took whatever this person was in and erased everything in the back, I feel like it would be a pretty good piece, but then the perspective is just off. Because, see, here's the thing. If I drew a horizontal line across, like maybe around like here, I think that's kind of closer to where the horizon line is. So the bike even then maybe doesn't quite follow it. So the perspective is really what's throwing this piece off. And so that means like the table would be closer to like here. We would probably be looking at it straight on, and this person would be like closer to sitting around over here maybe.
I return.
Hello.
Hello.
I feel like I have to give a crash course on perspective with this one.
Yeah, that's up to you, man. Hey, I mean, you've got more than 20 minutes to do that. So like, if you like to go for that.
Like, I think this is probably a better breakdown of what the scenario is. And if you want the person really up close, they're working on the bike, they're leaning over and everything, and then the bike is like right up here. I think this matches the perspective a little bit more, even though like it's a tough scene. You got the bike, you got the person working on it and everything. It's a tough one, but that's kind of why this is like super, it's not really working, because everything is just following its own kind of perspective grid almost. I think if you got the bike, if we were to like lay out what the perspective was for these characters, it just doesn't, I don't know, something's a bit off about it. Can you spot it? I don't know. Can you see?
Yeah, no, I 100% get it. Yeah, I know exactly what you're putting down.
Yeah, like something maybe around here. Yeah, something's just like off with the way the chair is. So I think if we moved it all up, that we would see, we are seeing too much of the top of the chair. And I think the person would be sitting closer to like here, maybe. Something like that. And then we could lower this table. I think part of this is like some of the perspectives working for some things, but then afterwards it's the composition. There's also just like so much going on with this shot. It's a cool piece though. I feel like I would love to take the time to just dissect and look at like what's going on and properly lay down like what you could do with the shot like this, because it's cool. It's a lot that's working about it, but yeah, it could use some more work.
Yeah, 100%.
You got anything for this one?
Yeah, I was just waiting for you to finish. I'm like,
oh no. I
have Bluetooth headphones, so like I can hear you even
oh,
when I
okay,
stepped away.
yeah.
I was like, I didn't want to stop your thunder. All right.
Actually, there's a comment. Someone's like, "There's a chair under the person."
Oh,
you mean this?
Yeah.
This one? There's a chair for this guy over here. Yeah. I mean, she's just leaning there.
Yeah, she's just
kind of thing.
there.
Yeah.
It's a real shame. If you don't mind, I'm gonna switch to my screen.
Oh yeah, no.
It's a real shame because like this, I love. You're speaking to my heart. I love big, busy backgrounds. You're working against yourself here, my guy. It's this like, Like, first of all, I don't know what's going on with this texture. Like, it's just kind of like, you just kind of decided to scribble all of this. And I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to accentuate the perspective, right? You're trying to make it feel like everything is in this perspective that you have decided is the perspective that works. It just kind of looks like an ugly texture, but like, whatever, right? But you're working against yourself because you have unintentionally laid down your perspective grid. It is there now. You have it. But guess what? Nothing follows it. Your bicycle, your bike doesn't follow it. The perspective of this person doesn't follow it, right? This chair doesn't follow it, right? Everything is on the incorrect perspective, right? Because if we have this going on here, right? If we are raising this up, this means that like the perspective, like the point is back here or something, right? This table should be, like you mentioned, it should be on a straighter angle than this, right? It shouldn't be quite like that, especially with the depth that's going on, right? Oh, I should have done this on another layer. That's my bad, Joe. Hang on. Doing this magic again, just in case I need to lower the opacity of this. So, right, this kind of thing going on. These lines that you've put down, they make this look like it should be on such a high angle. Like, such a high angle, right? It looks like we should be looking down on top of everything. By comparison to all of it, like, you know, being from the side. This person, if we were to do this person from an angle, right, her shoulders would match this perspective that's going on, right? Drawing a person in perspective is not easy, but if you're gonna lay down that perspective work, then you need to make sure that you commit to it, you know? Because, like, she's not following that perspective. If she was, it would look a little bit more like this, right? Kind of following that. One shoulder over here, one here. This head right here. Actually, a little bit more forward than that. This head, like, here. The head angle also matches that, like that, too. Right? This arm, we move it forward here. Right, this one back here. Right? It's like, you need to make sure that the whole body follows the perspective as well, right? You can't just have all of your objects in perspective and not have the person in perspective, because that throws everything off, too. Right? This bike, we see it from the side, but because of how intense this up-down angle is, we actually should probably see more of the back of it, right? Because of this perspective that you've laid down on the ground. However, like, now we see the top of this person too. It feels like he should be like because he's farther in the back, we should actually see less of his front. We should see more of his side, right? It should be more like that, right? Again, shoulder angle, following the perspective of the thing here. Hips following the perspective. Knees following the perspective, right? We have, like, landmarks. These are called landmarks. These are landmarks to dissect how the perspective of something should work, right?
Yes.
So we gotta make
teacher
sure.
Jessie.
One more time?
Yes, teacher Jessie.
I just came from camp. I'm all warmed up. I'm all warmed up now. We're going in on this one. Right? And it's like, it's just, you're so close. It's another one of those. You're so close. You're so close, right?
Yeah, I think, like, each element on its own could work, but then put together, it's just, like, all over the place.
Yeah. I just realized this is a test tube. I thought that this was a door this whole time. I'm like, oh wait, this is a tube! I didn't even notice that.
Wait, where?
This in the back.
Oh.
In the back there. You see that, like, one spot of, like, rectangular white?
Oh.
Yeah, that's a tube. That's not a door.
Okay.
I thought that was an exit. I thought that was an exit this whole time. My apologies. I was like, oh. Yeah, exactly, Starverse. It's such a cool concept. I thought it would, like, this. It's like a workshop. I've done a piece like this, right? I love workshops. I love that kind of thing, right? It's like, really make it look like, I love that kind of junkyard aesthetic. I'm a huge fan of that. I loved Stray. I loved, like all that kind of stuff, right? It's like, it's such a cool, like junky, what do you call it? Junky cyberpunk is so good, right? But it's like, you're so close,
yeah.
You're so close. You're so close to greatness.
I also think it's just, like, a matter of a composition.
Uh-huh.
I think this is one where it's like you can definitely tell that it lacked a bit of planning in it, because they just went for it and then just hoped that it would all come together. But I think like composition, layout, knowing what you want on the picture and how to put everything, it's like it needed a bit more exploration. It needed a little bit.
A little bit more exploration, a little bit more execution. Ziggy makes a good point. It doesn't seem as though the tube is really as bright as it is represented. Should be more light casted on the characters. 100%. I think in reality, what all of these lines are supposed to be is shading. They're just trying to make this room look dark. However, like, it just looks like scribbles, so it's not really executed that great. Right? So it just kind of feels like it's all just scribbled on there. I see no real sense of lighting. There's no, like, I see you tried to make under the desk a bit darker, but it doesn't look right. Right? It's like, this, my friends, is why we thumbnail. Thumbnailing is important. Yes, say it with me, friends. Thumbnailing is important. So,
Yeah.
if we have a piece like this, let me do this fun little thing for a moment. Well, I was gonna make another window, but I remembered that windows get altered if I switch it another layer, so let's do this really quickly. So we can have two versions of this. So if we're looking at this little piece of composition, thumbnails are important. Yes, it's not a YouTube thumbnail, just thumbnails. Thumbnailing is a part of the pre-production process where we want to add concepts, mini concepts for the full piece that we are going to achieve, right? So if I was going to do a garage scene like this, right, this little tiny little thumbnail that I would create, I would use as like a waypoint, right? I would add my perspective lines. I would add my little background elements to make sure that everything, I would find my little vanishing point. I would add in, like, you know, everything that needs to be done like this, right? And this is just one point, so I don't need to worry about, like, multiple vanishing points, right? So I'm like, there's my second wall there, right? Following my perspective lines very, very loosely, right? And then I have the tube that's kind of there, right? And then I have the desk. If I have the desk in there, and the chair and the person, right? And then I might have, like, the motorcycle here. It's coming to me, so it's gonna be a lot bigger here, and then it'll get smaller as it goes farther back here, right? And then maybe we have this person working on it. Again, the person following the perspective that we have achieved right here, right? It's small, it's meant to be quick, it's meant to be gestural, but what this does is it helps us plan our perspective as well. Woo! It helps us plan perspective, it helps us plan the actual composition that we are looking at, right? It makes sure that everything is filled out properly. It makes sure that everything looks like it should. Everything is, like, in place. Everything is, like, you know, generally what we want. And then we can fix it afterwards, right? We don't want to fix it immediately. We can fix it after, right? The thumbnails are not meant to be clean, right? For me, if I was going to do a scene like this, I would actually change this perspective completely. I think I would have it so that this wall is kind of like right here, right? And then we have, like, different perspective like that. The tube would be right here, kind of. Because the big important thing that I'm looking at here, good job, I have a focal point, is this motorcycle and this girl, right? So I'm like, I want that motorcycle to be the frontline winner, right? So I'm gonna have this motorcycle right here, front and center, on my rule of thirds, woo! So we have our rule of thirds right there. And then we have the person working on it, our mechanic, right? And then the desk is over here, and it's kind of cut off a little bit. And we don't even, this other person, I don't know how important they are, but I would cut them off, so we would have, like, just their legs kind of just sitting here. So it kind of looks like there's somebody else there, but we don't really see them that cool, so it gives them a little bit of mystery. So we have that person working there. There's some kind of radioactive sludge thing going on here, but I would probably just have the tubes coming around the edge, just to give it a bit more of that interest. We have that panel that's right there, that glowing panel. And we have, like, you know, there's just a bunch of strewn about tools that this person is working with, right? It's like, that's personally how I would have worked with this composition, right? And setting down that perspective grid first helps you put everything in that section afterwards, right? It's like you put down the perspective grid and then you can work with all of your objects and placing them down, right? Once you have this thumbnail, you can, like, make it bigger and then, like, draw it out. If you're working traditionally, you have a traditional thumbnail and you use that thumbnail as reference and you fix it within your actual piece, right? work with a lot of different iterations, work with stuff. Unfortunately, if you're a traditional worker and it ends up not working out, restart. That's unfortunately what happens. I do it digitally too. Like, if I don't like something, I just delete it. But
yeah. Actually, you want to switch over to mine? I feel like this is like one way you could do it if you wanted to keep this like composition, but like kind of what you're saying, like have the focus be the motorcycle and the girl. Like the guy on the chair, I feel like it's kind of just random.
yeah.
But like if you want the craziness and the hecticness of it, like crowd it out and have like lighting and the detail and the focus just be on the motorcycle and the girl. But like lower camera angle, that's why you do the thumbnail first, like figure it all out and then work on the details, because this is a complex piece. It's a challenging one to like tackle and try out, and it's all about like making sure you have the groundwork done and then go for it.
Yeah. Especially with the lighting, you could have done so much with that tube, because that tube is supposed to be bright, right? I assume. Like, you could have had some sick backlighting with that thing. Like, it's like you had like the edge lighting around your characters and like had everything backlit. That would have been so cool. Like, that would have been so cool. Like, especially with the focal point of like that girl and the bike, right? Because that table, right, you see the sides of it, so it wouldn't actually be too backlit. You see like the sides of like all these other like objects around you. They're not like directly, you don't see the backs of them, so they're not like directly backlit, but that girl is, and the bike will be mostly backlit, right? So that also, it's the inverse of like making the person your focal, like the focal point the most lit, right? In this one, you're making the focal point the least lit, but it is still your focal point because it's the darkest thing on screen, right? And it is being surrounded by the lightest thing on screen, so it's almost like you're creating a frame for that focal point, right?
Yeah.
It could be so
cool. Yeah, there's so much that you could do with this, and I think it's just like mastering perspective first, because I think the limitations with this was that it was all 1 point perspective, it seemed like. Whereas I think if you want a very dramatic, you put the camera down to the ground, have it look up a little bit so you get a bit of 3 point perspective going on, and you can really push that like lighting. Like if all the light is coming from here, like that canister in the back, it's casting a bunch of shadows from the table, from the boxes, from the tools, from the person, it would be like, it'd be so sick. There'd be so much to it.
Yeah, 1 point perspective is dangerous because it's like 1 point has the ability to be so boring. Like it's like the number one rule. Another rule that I learned in like post-secondary was like you should never put your focal point in the center of the piece. Like if you have like never put it in a direct center. Like never have it in the middle of the composition. Never have it in like in the middle of anywhere. Right? Like the like especially if you're working in 1 point, never have your like perspective be directly in the center of the canvas because it's boring. It's not interesting. So like having a low angle, I'm a huge fan of low angles. Like if you have like the bug's eye view, like everything looks like super big, you have that super dramatic look. It's the best. I love it. Yeah, you have that.
I think 1 point is like good if you're just starting out and you're trying to figure out how perspective works, but then 100%. It's like the one where you don't want to really do unless you're doing like a full like technical study, like a very dense scientific room maybe. But then after that, it's like if it's not really a good go-to.
Yeah, 1 point is definitely like your starters, like my first perspective kind of look at stuff, and it's like nowadays I can't do a background piece unless it's 3 point or up. Like I'm like it's too few points if it's only too few points if it's only 1, right? I need more. I need my height.
Yeah, 3 point, like, it just makes everything so, like, nice and everything. Like, this canister, oh my goodness, imagine when we were, like, looking up on this canister, and it's just menacing.
Huge,
And everything, like, it's so good.
It'd be so good. And, like, it would, like, it would help frame that character better, because it would, like, give her more space and size, and, like, it'd be a really good, like, reference point for space. Amazing. Yeah. It would have really... You could have achieved greatness. You're so close.
We were this close.
We were this close. This close to greatness.
Man.
Yeah, no.
Nice try, though.
Nice try. Nice try. Gold star.
Get an A for effort.
A for effort. A for effort. Yeah, it's just those little things. Little things. I always say it. Digital art and just art in general. It's always about the final touches. Final touches are where it's at with art.
Actually, like while you were like doing the thumbnails, sometimes if I want to do really crazy, intense backgrounds, I don't actually do any line art. I just go for lighting first. Especially for something like this, just figure out where's the light, where are the midtones, and then what are the darkest pockets, because then you figure out the storytelling first, and then you can go in and add all the minutia and all the tiny little nitty-gritty details. But like storytelling, lighting is key, so you could figure that out first too, especially with this, with that giant glowing, I don't know, radioactive tank in the background casting the lighting would be like so key for this.
100%.
Well, yeah, Sketch is kind of winging it, but you're kind of sketching it with the lighting in a way.
Yeah, I'm like, oh no, sorry, I don't know why I started my sentence like that. you're 100% correct. There's an exercise that most artists get when they're in post-secondary or some kind of like institution where they are forced to draw a background using like a really light gray, a mid-tone gray, and a dark gray. And you have to do like thumbnail studies or something, and you have to use those 3 tones to draw your thumbnails, and that's it. Right? It's like you're only supposed to find that lighting, and like only using lighting for thumbnails to really get that storytelling in 100%. Like that's like super. That's a super good way of also doing your thumbnails, because it also helps you decide like your focal point. It helps you decide where the eyes are supposed to go, right?
Yeah.
I'm that kind of person that does the lighting afterwards. I'm like, I kind of have the idea of what my lighting is supposed to be, and then I just draw it in, and I'm like, yeah, that's about right. Like, that's what my brain envisioned. But yeah, thumbnailing out that lighting first is super beneficial for everybody.
Yeah, I never blink. Someone's like, you're staring into my soul. My avatar is just never blinked.
Yeah. For a little peek behind the curtain, Josh's little avatar is being used on a different software than mine is. So I have VideoTube. Josh is using I don't remember what the software is called, but it's one that takes your Discord mic by comparison to like mine, which is taking just like my computer mic, and it's a software. But yeah. All right.
Okay, nice. Yeah, my eyes are bloodshot right now.
It's like you just haven't stopped staring. It's like you're kind of just stuck in this perpetual state right now.
Forever staring into all of your souls.
Stuck with us. I never realized he doesn't blink. Well, now you do. Now you're stuck with that knowledge forever. For a peek behind the curtain, Josh has not blinked in real life. Never. It's been years.
I must follow how my avatar looks.
Yeah.
I can't change from it.
Yeah, I'm actually like a little 1 foot tall like figurine kind of looking. I could be found in a blind box. Like that's how tall I am actually. It's like a little doodle figure.
Oh man.
All right. You have anything else to say, or are you?
No.
Good to move on.
Yeah.
All right. Poggers. Ooh, it's this one next, huh? Oh, I chose the different one. I chose the character sheet. Yeah. No, we talked about that a little bit. We talked about the character sheet. I was switching to that one for this person. All right. This piece is by Fiery Dominic. He is known as Fiery Dominic with a K on Twitter. Thank you for including the social media page, my friend. Fiery is spelled F-I-E-R-Y. Dominic, D-O-M-I-N-I-K, capital F, capital D. So, I told Josh what I wanted to say for this, and he went, oh no. So,
I was like, oh, so mean.
So mean. Here's what I saw about this one, right? You submitted this piece. And you submitted a bunch of them, right? You submitted a bunch of pieces that looked pretty much like this one. Oh, you're in chat. You're in chat. I'm so sorry. Now I've lost all bravado. No, you're here.
Oh, they are. You're here.
Hi. Thank you so much for submitting.
Okay, they're ready.
They're ready.
They're ready
I appreciate it. I saw you submit this, and I saw you submit all your work. I actually had a hard time choosing which one to pick. That's why Josh had a different one up at first. You put for your extra comments that you were going to use this for your commissions portfolio. And these were like a bunch of your pieces that you were going to be using for your commissions portfolio and stuff like that. And I saw the word portfolio, and I went, are you sure? So my thought process when I saw this style, right? You have a great style, you have great technical ways of working. If you tried to put this on a portfolio that was for anything other than public commissions, you would not be getting in. Which is like the thing that I told Josh, and Josh was like, oh no. Because for portfolios, here's the thing. When you are working for anything that is like, for if you have like, should have added this to the folder, just in general, right? You have the stickman style, which is like, again, a common style that I see a lot. And it's one of those things where it's like, oh, it's like you were very clearly inspired by very certain artists as you were growing up, and you very much have that kind of like, oh, you're very much following that sort of niche within art. Public commissions, perfect. This works fine because you're working with that public commission niche. If you are going into art professionally, if you are going into like, if you wanted to do character concepting, if you wanted to do like any kind of like pre-production, if you wanted to do storyboarding, if you wanted to do that kind of thing, drawing with this style and only this style can only hurt you. I promise. When you are working with anything outside of just public commissions, you need to show that you can do everything. You need to be able to be good with your backgrounds, you need to be good with your people, you need to be good with anatomy, right? You can have that stylization, that's great, but you need to be able to show that you can study too, right? You need to be able to show that you have that versatility within your work, right? And I think it's I'm sorry, you're in chat, it's making me nervous. It's so like, it's detrimental. I can see you there. It's like I'm trying to move to a less stickman style because I have a hard time with the style at times. Yeah, it's, you gotta learn with your facial, you gotta learn new facial proportions, you gotta learn how to add your hair properly, you gotta learn how to, you know, like your body proportions aren't too bad, but I think that you could work with, every single character had that same body type, every single character had that same head. It was like, one piece of advice that I got at one point was like, if you took away your character's hair and you put them all in grayscale, would you still be able to tell your characters apart? And look, and like, I like didn't have any of their clothes. If they were all bust shots, took away their hair and put them in black and white, can you still tell them apart? And if the answer is no, you don't have enough variation, right? And it's like, every single one of your characters had that exact same look, and it was that exact same stickman kind of look, and it was the exact same, right? And it was just like a little strip of hair maybe, or a little strip. That doesn't mean to say that your stuff isn't creative. Yeah, you have like a lot of interesting ideas, but again, they work for public commissions and nothing else, right? And you need to be able to have that variation. You need to be able to have that thing. I think the harshest thing I ever had a professor tell me was, yeah, you're good, but I've seen you before.
Oh.
That messed me up.
That's like a stab to the heart.
Yeah, that messed me up. That messed me up for the whole night. And I was like, I drove home that night, and I was like staring into the middle distance the whole drive home. And I was like, it's like, yeah, you're good, but I've seen you before. How can
it's
you
like
make me
existential comment?
Yeah. How can you make me like you? Is the one thing. How can you make yourself interesting to me? Right? And it's that's kind of how I felt about this, and that's why I wanted to talk about it. It's like, I want to see more. You have such potential, you have strength in your work. There is strength here, there is technical skill, there is so much going on here that you could work with, but you need to get better. That's what I feel about with a lot of you guys. It's like, I see your work and I'm like, you're so close. You're so close, right? And it's like, you have that just single step left to become great, right? It's like, you're so close, but like, you're not quite there yet, you know? And it takes a lot of studying, and it takes a lot of harsh comments, and it takes a lot of that kind of thing, right? And like, for this one, this person specifically, I feel like my prof now. It's like your work is good, but I've seen you before. How can you show me something that I haven't seen? Right? It's like, how can you show me? How can you make yourself feel interesting? Whether that's with new concepts, whether that's with a new style, right? Concept artists, they are good at what they do because they're creatively genius, right? They're the people who come up with things on the fly. They're those people who can look at something and go, oh, I can make something else out of that. I saw some dude, there's this amazing concept artist. He took kitchen utensils and kitchen appliances and turned them into spaceships. Right? That was so smart. I was like, wow, that's such a cool concept. I saw another person who did a new version of a vampire. And instead of like the fangs just being attached to their body, it was like kind of a cyberpunk body horror kind of vampire, where there was a syringe mechanism that connected to like their neck, that that's what the teeth were. They were like syringes. So they took that inspiration from how actual like fangs work, and then they put that into a more mechanical perspective, right? That's amazing. That's creative, right? Both of them had very similar styles, very realistic, very, very concrete in that way, but the concept was so interesting, right? It was so cool. How can you make yourself stand out? And that is something that you need to figure out for yourself, and that is something I cannot tell you, because that is something, that is an adventure you have to go on your own, right? Does that mean that I find it either? No! Right? I'm still trying to find that path. I think all of us are. We're all trying to find that thing that makes us, like, interesting, right? We're all trying to find that thing that makes the world turn our way, right? And it's tough. It's not easy, right? But if you really love it, you're gonna get there eventually, you know? You won't start there, but you will be. You will be there at some point. Alright, that's enough mushiness. Let's get into the technical. So,
it sounded like a campfire talk.
I get into those eventually. Let's get into the technical. So, your line work's actually fine. I wouldn't say anything about your line work. It's your lighting, my friend. What you've done here is you've done something called embossing. Don't emboss. Thank you. So embossing makes all of your things kind of look like, you know, if you've ever had like engravings on the side of like a door, the character kind of looks like a button based on how you have like drawn them, right? So it kind of looks like you just have a circle and then they have a little bit of edge lighting here and a little bit of edge lighting here, right? I'm assuming their head is a sphere. I hope so. So what I would probably do is, rather than have your character's head just have this edge lighting here, it's very stylized, it's very neat, however it doesn't really work, so it's kind of working against you. Alright, here, so what I would probably do is, I don't necessarily need to make it soft, but if you wanted to keep that kind of cell shading going on here, ooh, that's my bad, Joe. Hang on. You know what we're gonna do?
What are we doing?
To select the colors. Yes! Fantastic. So. Oh, I should have. Hang on. That's my bad. We're gonna do that again, because I did the thingy wrong. There we go. So, what you're gonna want to do, right, is have this shadow more so trace the shape of the head. And make sure that your light source really brings that shadow out there.
Wow, yeah, it's like magic.
Magic, yeah?
Yeah, you like carved out the three-dimensional forms of his face.
Yeah, you carved out the dimensions, and look at that, I didn't use the soft brush. Crazy, right? Soft brush is not the solution to all your problems. I think that a lot of instructors say that. They're like, oh, well, it's a round object, so you need to have a soft edge. No, you don't. Okay? You don't, I promise. You just need to know how your forms work. So, because you have a three-dimensional form, right? Look at that difference. Because there's a copy of this character, I don't even need to make a copy, right? You have a little bit of the edge poking out here, right? So you still have that light, edge light, but this shadow is a little bit thicker. Because they're not even, and they're kind of like forming around the shape of the character and not just around the edge of the line art, now this character feels a little bit more three-dimensional. Let's do it on the arms too. So if we take a look at this arm right here, all right, let's make this all blue. Let's just do that really quickly. Right, the arm has a little bit more muscle on it, right? I see you in chat and you're like, I want to improve a little bit more. That's fantastic. Make sure that you are looking up your muscles. Make sure that you understand how anatomy works. You understand how these forms should move. Think about your body as forms. Do not think of them as shapes. Right? There's a little bit of fat that happens around here on the olecranon when the Muscle bunches up when it is bent. That's the scientific name for your elbow, my friends. It is your olecranon. So you have a little bit of muscle that bunches up around the elbow there. Right, you could accentuate that a little bit if you'd like, if they're a little bit more muscular. If this, oh no, it's a he. If his arms are a little bit more muscular, right? You have the back of the hand, right? If you have your light coming from this side, and this whole arm actually will probably cast a shadow along here. Actually, if that's casting a shadow, then this hand will also be in a bit of shadow here, like that. It's a whole lot of shadow here. There's lots being covered up by this arm, this scarf here, if this is protruding. Don't really need that highlight there. And same thing on this arm. The side is probably in shadow. Don't really need all of this edge lighting, but you can have a bit of this. A good piece of advice I got from a fellow student was don't think of your lighting as a line, think of your lighting as a shape. So your lighting generally doesn't follow your line art. It is meant to carve out the rest of the shapes that your line work cannot. Wow, and look at that. Look at that. Isn't that a difference, my friends? Right? We want to make sure that we have those forms being carved out by comparison to just like adding a shadow to the edge of the lighting, right? We want to bring a bit more of that three-dimensional feeling back to the character by comparison to just, you know, I'm gonna put a shadow at the edge of this line here. Don't really know what's going on, but I can do that, right? We want to bring that back. Actually, we can even add a little bit of light here. Sure. Let's have some fun, right? Isn't that great? You can even do this. You want to see something fun and stylized that I do sometimes? Boop. Now they're shiny. Right? It's fun, right? You can have some fun with it still. But that even more accentuates the fact that it's a sphere, right? The head is round. It is round. It has a, like, circumference. It has a volume kind of thing, right? And it really helps bring out the forms of all of these characters. I have gone on for so long. Josh, you have anything to say?
No, I mean, this is great. This is like kind of close to how I like to shade too, because I'm just like, I want to get my work done, and then like don't really care too much about rendering and whatnot, so I just do like the cell shaded look. Yeah. I think the key that if you want to do something like this is like, you know, the exercises you do in school where you get a cube and you color one side dark, the other side medium, and the other side light. That's basically what this is. The tricky part about this is just that you need to know a little bit of anatomy and how the forms of your arm are forming around and everything. Yeah, like the three-dimensional volumes of your arm, but just kind of like being clear with it, because I think they definitely got the drawing side down. Yeah. It's just really pushing the lighting scheme. Like go crazy with it and see how much you can push. You know, 100%. And see if it works, see if it feels like three-dimensional. Definitely pick a good light source, because if you do, like, let's say all light is from the front, then obviously everything is just gonna be flat. But if you do everything from the back, then it might just be rim lighting. So usually 3/4 lighting, front 3/4, like from the right or left, doesn't matter. It's like a good way to practice, and like lets you learn how to light. Because essentially that's what you did. Jesse just put the light to the right or to the left, 3/4 shining over, and then boom, got like such nice lighting.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, no, it's that light source real important. Right now you kind of have that edge. Just everything kind of has that edge to the left, but that's not really how stuff works, right? So we want to really think about where that light source is coming from, really enhance, right? Let me do you a little favor. Let's shade the rest of this character. It's actually not that hard. So if we were to just take the lighting from all of these, this is a fun little trick on Photoshop called the contiguous checkbox, where like if something is like all the same color, then you can just select all of it. You can change its tolerance, so if you wanted it to be stronger, then you can make it stronger, but if not, you can just keep it at whatever, like how much of the hues it tolerates. his hair is curved, so this shadow's also going to be curved this way. If we wanted to add some highlights back in here, we can, if we would like. Your highlights and stuff can also be used to accentuate what the forms actually are. Alright, so this is hair. I'm going to use my shadows to accentuate the fact that it's hair. I'm going to add some extra lines in here to really bring out what texture it's supposed to be in here, right? Just doing it all from the edge, you're hurting yourself. You're not letting this character have more texture to it, right? Oh, this is just pure white. Or, hang on, let's actually turn this down. It is. So don't do that. Let's turn contiguous back on just for now, so I can select this.
Ooh, the shine on the hair. Nice.
Thank you. Yeah, you really want to get that nice shiny bit in there. Also, when you're picking your swatches... Oh, you did! You did change the hue. Excellent. I'd push this shadow even more, though. Let's bring it more to the orange. Yeah. And have that shadow going on in there. This is completely covered, so we don't need to worry about that. Also, if you give everything that kind of shiny edge, then everything kind of feels like the same texture, so you probably don't want to do that. And then, if I give you this real quick, this is going to continue down here.
Yeah, I'm aiming for a world record staring contest right now, you know. 2 hours. Haven't blinked.
Yo, you're doing great. I think you can take home the champs. Yeah. I'll be cheering for you. I'll be cheering for you. Yeah, there we go. And then
could never close my eyes ever again. It's just so dry.
You just have to have
I just need what is it, those sleeping iPads or something?
Yeah, those
eye covers.
Yeah, the eye mask. When you go to sleep.
Eye mask, yeah.
Yo, I have one of those. You feel free. I you can borrow it. It's like I'll just lend it to you.
Even my eye masks, the eyes are open on the like the prints.
Oh, true. Yeah. So you still aren't actually closing your eyes. It's just like.
Some people are asking if there are animated ones. Do you want to say if we do?
Oh, what do you mean?
I mean, like animated pieces to critique. Roast.
No. I'm not an animator, so I have no input. Josh is an animator. I can't animate to save my life.
There were some animations, and some of them were good, but a lot of them were kind of not age appropriate, I guess.
Oh yeah.
Like they were maybe a little bit violent. Kind of bloody.
Oh, I gotcha.
Okay. Like, it was good, though. I will say this, like, not in a roasty way. The animation was pretty cool. It's got that, like, simplified stick figure kind of fighting aesthetic to it. Got some nice motion. But, yeah, it was a little, not our type of content, unfortunately.
Yeah. I can't crit, animated content. Because I'm not an animator, so I tend to just skip if it's animated. I apologize. But yeah. Alright, there we go. See, so, right, you kind of understand what I'm putting down. We have our light source up here, and then everything kind of gets shone down onto, and then we have our, like, low lights over here. If you want to get extra fancy, we can have something called a bounce light. Really make that shadow a little more interesting. Maybe we have some blue coming up from here. Ooh, isn't that fancy? We can do that for a lot of this section, but I'm not going to do it to all of it because I don't want to spend forever on this. But right at like Josh and I were talking about this a bit ago. 90% of digital art is the final touches, right? So like it's all about like the thing you're probably going to spend the most time on is your lighting and your effects and your final touches and stuff like that, right? So like spend the most time on that because those finishing touches are what takes your work from good to great, right? So just keep on working on that. Yeah,
Yep.
a lot better. I
Lighting.
Yeah,
Lighting is hard though. What is it? Fire Dominic did say that they just started working on lighting, so
Yeah, excellent.
definitely, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely a thing to practice. Try it, figure out.
Yeah, like look at those references, do what Josh said, go back to the basics, do those like fun little exercises where it's like, I'm gonna shade a cylinder, I'm gonna shade a sphere, right? Sphere seems really important for you. But, you know, go back to those kind of basics, right? Really hone in on that kind of jazz, and like you're all good to go, you know?
Yeah, I love jazz. You know, so.
Love jazz. You like
think-
jazz?
I think for practice as well, when going back to the basic, it's not just the lighting on the object, but also cast shadow as well. Because like if you notice, Jessie was also talking about how like the arms casting a shadow onto the body, and then the head is casting shadow onto like clothing and hair. So like that's also super important too. It's not just lighting on the object, but how it casts shadow. It's like that extra little nudge to make it like well put together.
Yeah, 100%. Also, I appreciate you using the gray gradient for the background. Please choose a different font. I don't like this font. It's kind of ugly. I'm sorry.
Papyrus?
This is not papyrus.
we use papyrus is good alternative.
No. Hurts. But yeah, no. It sounds boring. Use either handwriting, so it looks handwritten, or use a sans serif font that's kind of boring looking. I promise. It looks better. It's cleaner. We don't want a font that looks like this. I'm sorry. It's just kind of where it's like kind of handwritten, but it's not handwritten. It's like don't do that. I promise. It's like use Century Gothic. What's my favorite? Brendan Grotesque, I think, is my favorite.
Whoa, what is that?
It's a good font. That's what it is.
What is the what is it called?
Brendan Grotesque. Hang on, I think that's what it is, right?
Brendan Grotesque.
Yeah, I love Brendan Grotesque. It's nice and simple. I use it for the top of my stuff, so it's like if I'm doing like concept art, right? That's nice and sharp and sleek, right? We love that kind of thing. Right? We want that bad boy to look nice and professional, right? So we want that kind of sleek. I love Brendan Grotesque for its like in all caps. I love Brendan Grotesque. In lowercase, I love Moon 2.0. It's also good in uppercase, but
Moon 2.0. What are all these names?
I love fonts, man. It's like this is nice in
Typography.
lowercase. Yeah, I love this in lowercase as well. If you're gonna be a concept artist, you unfortunately do need to know your graphic design just a little bit. But yeah. All right. Oh, we've got a little overtime on this one, but that's okay. We're on our last one now. You got anything else to add, Josh?
I guess just like a little bit back on the feet. I know we didn't use the original one, but the other, I noticed that the feet all look the same. It has like a very copy pasted kind of feel. So I would say like maybe try out different feet poses.
Yeah.
Try different like action poses or dynamic poses where it changes up the angles of them and whatnot, or else it feels like it's all reused basically.
Yeah. You're ready. Start with some foreshortening. Start with some foreshortened poses. You're good at this head-on one. Let's start with some foreshortening, baby. Let's go from those high angles, low angles. We love to see it. We want to make those body parts look like they're coming at us, my friend. So, yeah, you're ready. You can go for it. All right.
It's like training a kid for bicycle. You can let go of the training wheels now.
You can let go of the training wheels now. It's your time.
You'll keep holding the bike, right? It's like, yeah.
It's like, yeah, just go ahead, go for it. All right, well, let's switch over to your screen then. You want to introduce this next one?
Okay, oh boy, you guys aren't ready for this.
I'm ready. I know exactly what it is.
Oh man, when we saw it, we were like, oh, what?
It's
Just
like,
speechless.
what happened here?
Like, what happened? What's going on? Oh boy. Okay, so this is not it. This is still Fiery Dominic's.
Yeah, this is still Fiery Dominic.
Okay, so this is it. Now there's a lot going on. Okay, let's see. What the name is Muffin Storm. Handle at Muffin Edits _ 3. So at Muffin Edits _ 3, and it's on Instagram. Yeah, I don't know what happened with this one. It's one of those where you're kind of looking at it as like, was this a troll submission? And I don't quite know. So I included some of their other works just to compare.
You're so nice. I wouldn't have.
Because if you saw the other ones, you'd be like, like what? So that's not too bad. Like, if you look at this, the yellow hair rendering is pretty good. The eye rendering is like contained, and the lighting on the skin is looking pretty good. I mean, I stole the way you described. I was like, oh, that's perfect. The eyes are contained inside of the eyeball. And then this painting of Wednesday is like pretty cool. This has got a lot of personality to it. Like the dot pattern is really cool. But then Zelda, I just speechless. I don't know what happened. You know, the way it looks as if they followed a painting step by step, and like Wednesday and this yellow one, it turned out perfectly. And then they kind of gave up partway through Zelda because I don't know how you can go from Wednesday and then the other purple-eyed painting one to Zelda. It's almost as if everything they learned they just threw out the window. Kind of thing.
My poor girl.
But yeah, and also the other thing is like they're all taken from the phone, which I don't understand because you're clearly doing this digitally. So wouldn't you just like, even if you couldn't save it, like you could screenshot it or something?
Yeah, we all got screenshot functions, my guy. They exist. If you don't know how to do it, Google it. You have Google, I hope. I mean, I assume you submitted this on Google Drive. So.
Yeah. Yeah, so like Jessie, when we first looked at this, like the eyes, like okay, sure, if they're glowing, okay, but it's just like out of whack. And also it's kind of hard to tell where the eye kind of begins and start. Like I get a general idea. I have a vague idea as to like the eye might be like here, but then I don't know, like why is there so much glowing effect? You know, it should be a little bit more solid, you know? Like what happened to this eye? Is it this big? Is it this big? Like, I didn't, and then the glow is coming out here, but it doesn't appear here or here or here. Like, why is the glow all over the place? I don't understand what's happening. It's just very odd, you know? And then like the hair, what happened up here? What's going on up here?
Tips are a little soggy.
It's like it's the undercooked bread is what it's looking like. How did this happen, you know?
Crying. Because these are really the tears of the kingdom.
Oh my goodness, wait, did someone say that? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's my partner.
Oh jeez.
Hi, girl.
That's how Nintendo came up with the title for the game. They saw this and like, oh boy.
Truly, I'm crying. I'm actually crying. It's so funny.
And the paint. Okay, you know, if they told me that this was done in 5 minutes, I'd be like, dang, 5 minutes, that's pretty good then. But I like the painting. It's like, why is the shape not contained? Like, what is happening over here? Like, why is it painted outside of the line? Why could they not just clean it up? And then what happened to the trapezius? Like, the necklace ends here, which means the shoulder should be here. But what is all this? What happened over there? And I think it's the same thing on the other side too. Like, why are there like extra flesh bits like sticking out? I'm just bamboozled.
Bamboozled. I'm super bamboozled.
Yeah, I don't understand. And the face proportions.
Yo, you want to flip that canvas for us? You want to flip that canvas?
Okay,
yeah,
sure,
let's
sure.
do it. Let's do it. Yeah.
Oh no.
Yes. I love it.
I think a quick fix is just looking at where you've built the center line. It's like here. Why is the chin here? The center line is over here. It's easy trajectory, guys. It's connect the dots almost to a point sometimes.
Yeah.
Just go like, oh, center of the brow is here, bottom of the nose is here, chin. It's right there.
Right there.
It's just right there. I don't know what happened. Yeah, the mouth.
Drawing the line.
I think the mouth you could probably move it up a little bit more, just change the trajectory of the face, and it'll be just like a little bit better. You know, just like a little bit.
Just a little
It's
bit.
not much. It can't really fix this, but it's the best that we could do with what we got. You know. Yeah. You got anything?
You've been saying it so well. I'm like my thought process is like you could just like lasso tool the eye and just move it down, move the nose down a little
Oh, that's
bit,
true.
move the
Yeah.
chin's in the right place. If you don't mind, I'll be taking my
Oh, yeah,
screen
yeah,
down
yeah.
as well. So like if you just did this magic, right? Let me break it down for you. If you just like, you know, went like whoop. Wow. Look at that. Amazing. The eyes are in line with each other. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that nuts? Right? I can't
Wow.
even like I can't because of like you took a photo of your screen. I can't even like eyedropper tool because it's all different colors.
Oh, true. Yeah, it's
Look at your screen.
monitor.
The monitor.
Oh.
She's missing her eyebrows here. I don't know what happened there too, but that's
Oh.
okay. Maybe
I
sometimes.
guess it's those little lines above the eye.
Oh, maybe, yeah. Why is it so smudged?
I don't know.
There's so much going on here. Immediately better. Yeah, no, it's like the eyes, right? Wow, they're in line with each other. Nuts! Crazy. Just like Josh said as well, that's like where the center of the eyebrows are. We can find the bottom of the nose, right? That's center of the line, right? Let's take the color of the nose, right? If we wanted to do that tiny little anime nose that I despise so much, we can do that, right? We can have that little nub, I guess, just very barely breathing out of one single nostril, right? If you wanted to do that kind of thing, right? We can have that if you'd like, or if you want to draw a real nose, you can like, you know, have the. Yes, I'm throwing shade at this style. I don't care. I'm making enemies today. It's time. I hate that style, so I want to draw a bit of a
cries
real
of
nose.
a million weebs. No.
If you want to, like, you know, bring that back up, maybe have a little bit of the nose going on in there, right? Let's actually add some highlights. Why is this blue? What happened here? Why is it cyan? I'm gonna, you know, bring that edge down there. I'm trying to like match these colors.
I feel like because this painting had so many different directions, you can make it very anime, or like you could do what you're doing right now, which feels a little bit more realistic. It's almost like it's so undercooked that you got so much that you could do with this piece. So many different directions. It's so like undefined. It's like, oh, I don't get what you're going for, but okay. Yeah, you know.
It's so
I'm sorry.
undercooked. No, that's
I'm usually
funny.
not this mean. If the artist is in the chat, I'm so sorry.
No, you're amazing. You're doing great. You're doing great. This is perfect. I'm influencing you. Turning you into a hater. It's perfect.
No.
Right? You got a bit of the nose there. Wow. We actually have. She can breathe. She can breathe, y'all. And then like, the mouth is going a little lopsided here. You know. Let's make that a little bit. Like, let's bring the mouth back. Let's like. If you wanted to make it that wide, sure, but like, you know, it should probably be in line with the rest of the face. You know. Excellent. Beautiful. Well done, my friends.
Hey.
I love just like the wow. Yo, I love this. That's good. That's good stuff. All right, and then like the hair is just Zelda
Wow! Oh my goodness! No.
Zelda got
Oh
the
my
textures of the dubious food. Help me! Help me! That's so funny. That's a good one.
No, I mean I just saw it where you were like flipping between like what you changed and what it looked originally, and I was like,
oh, that's right.
boy.
You're a bit behind because you're watching the stream. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so funny. It's so funny. I should have been sharing my screen this whole time, huh?
It's so skewed.
Yeah, it's so skewed. Like, it's like... right? Oh, man. I'm like, can you just, like, you know, bring the face back out? Right? You know, pop the face back out a little bit. Give her some facial definitions. Let's contain the face once more.
Yeah.
Contain the face once more. Contain the shoulder. The trapezius is going a little ham there. So let's bring that back. There we go. Wow.
Wow, you took away those overgrown traps.
Oh, the overgrown traps. Bro, it's
Zelda
like
just doesn't skip trap day.
No,
I guess,
so
you know,
true.
just-
Constantly lifting. The ears are definitely too high as well. Let's lower that back down. For those who don't know, your ear is very generally between the top of your eyes and the bottom of your nose. So let's bring that back in there. There's no perspective applied to this, so it will be just like that. Right? They're the tips of her ears pointing out of her hair, though, so that's fine if they're not totally in line, because she's like, you know, like that. But... wow. Wow. My god. Her ears. She can hear again, guys.
Oh,
They're in line with her ear canals.
Oh,
Crazy.
man.
Wow. And then let's bring that back
Are you
out.
gonna also fix the hair on the
Yeah,
top?
yeah. No, I'm leaving that
Oh.
for last for like the total
Oh, yeah.
satisfaction. You know, I feel like I'm doing like a satisfying compilation right now. Oh, let's fix the tiara as well because that's a little bit out of whack too. The Sage of Time needs a little bit of oh, what do you call it? I was gonna make a joke and I've completely lost it. It's okay. We're just gonna pretend that I actually made that joke.
She don't got hair. I mean, you know, to be fair though, in the game, her hair kind of sweeps in the front, right? It's like
Yeah.
a middle parting ish. Okay,
Yeah.
well, also this painting, there's no indication as to where the hair starts. I guess so.
Yeah. I think
I'm trying to save the drawing, but then it keeps coming back, and I'm like, oh, but I didn't do this.
Sage of Time needs some time, yeah. Jesse's joke was so funny. It's okay. Yeah. It was a good joke, guys. Yeah, so like I can tell what they did here too, right? Like you can see how jagged these edges are. They took the lasso tool and then filled in with the first of all, there's definitely wasn't enough pixels in this. But they took the lasso tool, they paint bucketed it, and then tried to smudge tool it on top. Like they tried to smudge in the values. But they don't really know how to do that. So then it just kind of looks like again, like what you said, undercooked bread. So it doesn't really work here. So let's bring some shadows back into here, shall we? Especially when we're shading blonde. It actually works a lot better if you bring that yellow down into the oranges. It makes your shadows just look a little bit nicer, just a little bit colder. If you don't have a light source color, of course. This is just kind of the default, but your light source color will change your, what do you call it, your shadow color as well, so. Also, her hair is completely hidden. Her ear is completely hidden behind the hair, so let's just, like, get rid of that. I'm just, like, yeah, I feel like I'm just kind of, like, doing surgery right now. I'm, like, trying to reconstruct her. We can fix her. Thank you for the $10 dono, Sue.
Thank you, Sue.
Thank you, as usual. We appreciate your continued support.
Yeah, I guess, like, a quick color theory tip is, like, the more yellow something is, it actually comes off a little bit more green or grayed out. So if you want something to actually feel very saturated in yellow, you want to lean it closer to the orange side than the yellow side. Even if something feels like it's supposed to be yellow, the closer you lean it towards the green, it'll feel kind of muddy or dirty and kind of yucky. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm containing the eyes a little bit more as well. Time to fix them just a little bit.
Gaussian blur. Maybe. Yeah. There's so many artistic decisions here where I'm like, well, why?
There were a lot of decisions. I don't know if I'd call them artistic. Decisions were made. Weren't good ones, but they were decisions.
Yep.
Yeah,
we are on like 6:58 in terms of time. I don't know.
Yeah, that's all good. I can speed paint this. Let's
Okay, let's go.
Let's go. I'm just kind of very quickly.
Yeah, the top of the head, it's making me hungry because it reminds me of like Chinese baked bread.
Yo, so
like that
real.
color, like that texture.
Yeah. It's like pineapple bread or something.
Yeah.
It looks like oh, what do you call it? For all my Spanish and Filipino friends out there, oh, what's it called? It's the sugar bread. I will always forget the name of it. You know what I mean? It's the
I mean, in China, like the Chinese pineapple bun, like that kind of stuff.
No. It's oh, what do you call it? I'll never remember it. It's like a sugar bread, and it has like cheese on top sometimes.
Oh.
It's super good. It's like I always call it good bread, like just for the meme. I call it good bread. And I'll never remember what it's called. No, it's not a donut. it's like a bun almost. No, not a Rangoon. No, it's not a Chinese Danish. No, it's ah.
I don't think I've ever had it before.
No, it's so good. It's like, it's not pandesal, but pandesal is also really good. Pandesal is very good. It's a Filipino like kind of brioche bun kind of thing. I had this problem recently. I was like, oh man, what's this bread called? And then I just like, I kept on trying to Google it. It's okay. If you join the Discord, I'll tell you what the name is because I can Google it afterwards. Exclamation point Discord. It's not a Filipino. It is like, it's Filipino and Spanish. It's like, it's kind of a bit of both.
It's not just cheese bread, right?
No. It has a name.
Oh.
I'll never remember.
Josh, the clothes are not lined up.
Not concha. Yeah, listen, I'm sorry. I don't have the time to fix the clothes. We can only do so much surgery in one day.
Basically, we were submitted a very bad rough draft.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Jessie is now doing the actual final.
Yeah, I'm trying to clean it up just a little bit. I'm trying to save her. I can fix her, guys. Don't worry, guys. Don't worry, guys. I can fix her.
Oh my goodness.
And don't forget the highlights. We need highlights to make the hair pop a little bit more. This isn't amazing, but it's, you know, better than the original. All right. Yeah, you know what I mean? Just a little bit like this. And, like,
I mean, you didn't even have to go this hard. Like, the moment you shifted the eyes down, it was already better.
Yeah, right? And let's get that reveal in, boys. Ooh. Sorry, I was just like, you gotta wait for it, Josh. It's a good one.
I am waiting.
It's a good one.
The anticipation is killing me. Oh my goodness.
Look at that difference, boys. Wow.
It's so weird because it like shifts up.
Yeah.
It's like it just went, everything just went like whoop,
whoop.
up.
Just
oh,
whoop.
Man.
Yeah. Look at that. Isn't that better? Always make sure that you have your guidelines for the face. Make sure that you have a light source in mind, and make sure that your eyes are on the same plane of existence. Thank you. All right. With that though, I think that's the end of our time, Josh. That's the end of the stream. I think we ended on a really good note together.
Yeah, I'm glad we saved this for last.
Yeah, yeah, it's a good one, right? It's a good one to save for last. I'm glad that we did this. I'm glad that we had this time together. Thank you all so much for joining. Thank you to all the people who submitted. You are braver than most. Thank you for allowing us to rip your piece apart, especially this last person. I appreciate you submitting your work and letting us do surgery on her face. But thank you to everybody who submitted. Thank you to those who submitted and weren't even picked. I appreciate your courage for putting your work out there. For the next stream, if you would like to, you know, have a chance to submit your stuff, have a chance to have your stuff be put on blast, you can join our Discord, !Discord, talk with other art nerds, talk with us, because we're in there sometimes. I'm more in the membership chat. If you want to join the membership chat, join that kind of thing, you're going to have to join our Patreon, memberships, I think, memberships, Patreon, one of the others. You can become a YouTube member, or you can become a Patreon member. Over there, you can get access to lots of perks. There's some secret channels in the Discord that you can join. There is working files that are released every month of mine or some of the other artists. So be sure to join those, and you can get access to stuff like that. And we're not just an art studio, or we're not just an art channel, we're also a YouTube channel. Our YouTube studio, oh my god. We're not just a YouTube channel, we're also an art studio. We're also an art studio. Josh and I are both instructors for the current summer intensives that are going on. If you would like to check out the classes, !Classes, wingcanvas.com. Oh, Josh is covering .com, but that's okay. wingcanvas.com, check out the classes that we offer. Josh and I are both intensives instructors. Josh is currently teaching character design. We both just finished our first weeks. He just finished character design. I just finished figure drawing. If you would like to check out the classes that we offer, feel free to go over there, wingcanvas.com. Josh also teaches mentorships on the weekends, if you would like to sign up for those. No, wait, you do. Yeah, you teach mentorships in the morning, right?
Yeah, at 11 Eastern.
Yeah, 11 Eastern is Josh's class, and then there's also a later one in the day taught by Iggy. But yes, next week, do we have a next week stream? We should, right? We got a stream next week. Yeah, this Sunday is how to draw boats. we are doing how to draw boats this Sunday, and then next week, Friday, we are going to be drawing how to draw young versus old characters. So we are going to be talking about age and how to distinguish between them next stream. But alright, thank you all so much for joining, and I'll see y'all next week. Au revoir. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.